Hi, everybody. We'll keep this short and sweet. We just wanted to thank everybody for coming out. This has definitely been the best day of our life together and individually so far. We want to thank you guys for traveling all the distances that you did. You all mean so much to us. I know my dad alluded to that in his talk during the ceremony. And you guys are the best. We love you. Thank you. We'd like to specifically thank our parents, for doing such a great job raising us independently and now as a couple into the future. So, mom, dad, mother-in-law, father-in-law, thank you. Love you guys. The ladies of the bridal party wanted to say a few words.
Hi everyone. Hi. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Quinny. And so we first met at Maryland as teammates, and kind of right off the bat, it was really clear that Quinny was one of the most dedicated and passionate and hardworking people I've ever met in her sport. And and through the years, our friendship really grew. We went from teammates to friends. And we started taking our blow-off classes together. She would get A's, I would get B's and C's. Everything you do, you excel at. Everything's top to bottom, obviously. My name is beautiful. But then, after college, we moved to San Francisco together and had some of the best years of our lives, I think. But not best. And then, I know her decision to leave was a really tough decision, but it was made easier. We knew that she was going to do something that she loved, and it was a tough decision, but it was her best decision. It's that's pretty bad.
So I'm going to start my speech with a little story about my speech. I was thinking about what I wanted to say, but I decided I needed to take a little walk and go through it in my head. So my fiance Jax and I just went and took a walk. And I said, I'm not going to really say anything right now. I just need you to walk with me. I'm just going to think in my head. So we were just quiet for a couple minutes, and then suddenly I turned to her and I said, I knew I would know when I saw them. And she looks at me and she was like, oh my gosh, that is so sweet. And I looked at her like, I wonder why she said that, because I'm actually talking about my shoes. True story. I was actually talking about my shoes. When it comes to Quinny and Matt, I have... When it comes to Quinny and Matt, I have a lot of stories. The one I'll tell, some of you have already heard, so I apologize for the repeat. But Quinny won the national championship along with her Maryland Terrapins in 2011. 2010. And a bunch of us went out afterwards, and she had recently met this guy Matt, and he and I sat at the game together, and we went out after he came to the tailgate, and it was really easy to hang out with, and we kind of figured, okay, hopefully he'll tag along with us for the rest of the night, and he did. Went to a diner, did all that. Finally ended up back at Quinn's apartment. Eventually everybody crashed. It was ugly. You get up the next morning and it's just ugly the next morning. And I'll never forget that we were talking about whether or not we should go out to eat. And we're talking about, should we really go looking like this? I mean, this is a disaster. And Matt turns to Quinn and was like, I'm only going to go with you if you don't change anything about your hair. That's when I knew that we're definitely dealing with some unconditional love, no doubt. Hey, I look worse. So, Quinny and I were set to work a camp that following weekend, and this is where I take credit for the fact that we're all here. Because I realized right away what a very special guy we had on our hands, and that he really needed to come. And so I wouldn't really take no for an answer, and it didn't matter because Quinn, all you had to do was look at Quinn. It could have been me, it could have been anybody that would have seen, okay, this guy's got to come with us so that they can keep going and do their thing. And I think Saratoga ended up being a real bright first step for them. And I just would love us all to raise our glasses and toast to unconditional love.
I gotta follow that. I'll try to keep it quick because I think they're running out of Coronas, and I love Coronas, so keep Coronas for me. But I'm JP, friends with Burke, best friends with Burke. Worked with Burke in Florida at Bradenton for the soccer team. There's just two of us from the Florida contingency, and so I wasn't gonna say anything really, but I felt obligated because Bert's the man and he's a very close friend of mine. So I was like, what am I gonna say? I gotta say something. And I started thinking, and I remember this one time that Bert called me up when he was dating Quinn, and he was gonna go on a road trip to Saratoga, and he called me up. He's like, dude, I'm going on a road trip with my girlfriend. It's gonna be 8 hours long, one way and back. What do you think? I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Are you kidding me? Yeah, but I don't know. Nah, dude, go. Because you're going to know right away, if you go on a road trip with your girlfriend for 8 hours, back and forth, you're going to know. Obviously. You're compatible, right? Fair enough. So anyway, long story short, he goes up to Saratoga, has a blast, comes back, we end up talking on the phone.
Hey, here's the last Corona.
Two mics. I talk to this mic and this mic. I like this mic better. But, So he ends up getting back, and he calls me, or I call him, however it went, and I'm like, dude, how'd it go? He's like, it went awesome. I'm like, I told you, man. He's like, no, it went really well. Like, I'm all about her. She's special. She's different. I really care about her. I was like, great, man. So a couple months go by, and I'm from Connecticut, and I end up in Connecticut for the holidays, and he ends up in New York City for the Christmas holiday. And I'm like, dude, we should meet up so I can meet Quinn. And he's like, absolutely, I want you to meet Quinn. I was like, I'd love to. So we end up meeting up in New York City, and we hang out, we get dinner in Little Italy, and I get a chance to meet Quinn. And I'm like, yup, she is awesome. And I get what you said when you got back from that road trip. She's special, I think you're great, you're my man, and I wish you guys the best.
Alright everybody, my name's Brian, but I don't really ever get called that. I go by Plotty, so if you've heard stories, that's me. Matt called me up after, he got engaged with Quinn, and, asked a pretty special question, and one that I'm honored to have the privilege to stand here and speak with you now. He asked if I would be his best man. And, the best man can do a lot of things. He can come up here and he can tell stories, that embarrass the groom. He can do stories that, impress the family of the bride. He can do just about anything. But I'm going to keep it pretty simple. And, Matt is an incredible person, first and foremost.
That was Quinn's family.
That was Quinn's family. But just one quick story about Matt, and then I'll let us move on. And I know that my girlfriend really wants to start dancing, and I'm sure some of you guys do too as well. But Matt and I lived together down in Bloomington, and we kind of had a little saying. that, and some of the other guys have adopted it as well, and it was just kind of know your role, Burke. And I'm getting in here. And it meant a lot of things. It can mean things, and I think that in one of your cards that you're going to open, Greg alluded to the fact that he liked to kick balls over the fence and say, know your role, Burke. And it could be anything. It was, I remember one time sitting at the table, I think we were playing beer guy, and I needed a beer. Know your role, Burke. And so as it went, as we've grown now, we've moved from those, basically silly, immature beings to, now he's assuming a new role. And it's a role, I'm going to go good on this one. And it's a role that I think he's incredibly well suited for. And it's one that he's going to flourish in, and that's the role of husband. And so as he does this now, all the characteristics that make him who he is, just a wonderful person, genuine, honest, caring, loving, are all the roles, or all the things that obviously Quinn saw in him, and he saw in her, and then they now just kind of move forward, live a wonderful life together, start a family, and hopefully, can end up in a home similar to this one day. So, again, you both are so very lucky to have found each other. The happiness on both of your faces today and yesterday is amazing, and it's the day that I can hopefully have one with my wife one day. So to you guys, cheers, and enjoy the night.
Some round of applause for all of our toasters tonight. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Most of you, actually all of you, have achieved some magnificent things in your lives, and you're all to be admired. I certainly admire you. But what's most significant, I think, is not what you've achieved, but rather who you are. And in my view, what we have here today is a gathering of really good people. It's really easy to lose perspective on life and society, especially when you watch the 6 o'clock news. And it's just a blessing to be surrounded by such good people. I would like to, I forgot to mention at the ceremony that Matt and Quinn designed the ceremony and co-wrote their own beautiful vows. Now, when I forgot to say please be seated at the beginning of the ceremony, I now want to say thank you to the first person who made the bold and critical decision to sit down. I also want to send a special thanks to United States Coast Guard Captain John Felker. John, where are you? There's John. John will retire from a career in the United States Coast Guard on November 1st of this year. And he was sharing with me before the wedding that from 1990 to 1992, he was captain of the United States Coast Guard cutter Red Cedar, and he would ply these waters tending to buoys. And when he said that, I was struck by that because it's another indication of, in my view, today's not an accident. Today's not an accident, and the roots of this magnificent day and this beautiful relationship go way, way back. The German theologian, Martin Luther, said, "There's nothing quite as lovely as a good marriage." I would like to add that this same quality and beauty applies to all couples who commit themselves to each other, whether or not their union has been recognized as legally official by virtue of some government-issued marriage license. Finally, Helen Keller once said that the world is filled with human pain and suffering, and also the overcoming of it. And I want to say that each of you and every one of you are important players in the overcoming of it. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for those words, Bob. Let's hear it for Bob again. Matt and Quinn would like to invite everyone to the dance floor to come join them. Everyone is welcome to the dance floor. Ladies and gentlemen, the dance floor is now open for the rest of the evening. If there's anything you'd like me to play, just come let me know. Enjoy yourselves.
Hey, I forgot to say two things, and it's very fitting that Stevie Wonder is in the background. Sorry. Hey, how could I possibly forget to thank Jim Carney for a magnificent evening tonight? Jim Carney, let's hear it. And the reason I wanted to mention Captain John Felker is because he's the guy who tied my bow tie. I had no idea how to do that. So.